I needed. Anyway, Greg, I think I had mentioned Chandler Paquette is excused with permission. Greg, if you'd be kind enough to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from October 1st.
I will make that motion. However, there's a couple of corrections.
Okay. Hold on one sec. Okay, shoot.
We're in item number 2, approve the minutes. All right. Mr. Swan, second paragraph, Mr. Swan informed Mr. Klein, my name needs to be spelled correctly. It's K-L-I-N-E.
Hear you.
You got that?
Greg?
No, you got that?
Greg?
Yes.
Okay, you cut out. Let's try it again. So I've got the minutes in front of me and I'll make corrections, and Christina's here also doing minutes. So please go ahead with your corrections.
All right. The second paragraph of number 2, Mr. Swan informed Mr. Klein.
Yep.
K-L-I-N-E.
Oh.
Okay.
I approved these and I didn't even pick up on that.
And she's got it right every other time it's in here. Actually, at the end of that sentence, Mr. Klein just again twice in that same sentence. But
that's a typo, and I think that occurred with the Xerox machine. Anyway.
All right, and then the number 3. A motion to deny the request to subordinate the town's loan positions. Take out the D in subordination, subordinated. The last sentence, the last sentence of that. You got that?
I got you. Yep. You have that?
And
we're good.
And then on number 7.
Yep.
The recent Mr. Klein stated, the third paragraph, Mr. Klein stated the recent open house at Woodstock Volunteer Fire Association, not department, was very well attended. Actually, it was not an open house. It was a special gathering for the 3 selectmen to see the new ambulance.
Okay. The recent open house. Okay. And Christine has that, so you should be good.
That needs to be fixed, that's all, yeah. All right, so with those corrections, I move that the minutes be approved.
All right, thank you, and I will second that.
Okay.
Tax rebate, we do have one. I would make a motion to approve the following tax rebate to Honda Lease Trust in the amount of $47.14. Could I get a second?
I got it.
Okay, so it's unanimous.
Yep.
Correspondence and announcements. I have the monthly report from the state police for services within the town of Woodstock. And this is for the month of September. There were 95 calls for service in the town, 5 accidents, 10 investigations, 1 burglary, 0 larcenies, and 80 non-reportable matters. There was 1 traffic citation, no DUIs, and 2 written warnings.
Okay.
What else do we have? I have a letter, and I won't go into a long discussion about this, but this is from the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District. And what we're basically trying to do is we have a memorandum of understanding between all of the towns that is served. And I had signed this on behalf of the town, and it's basically to protect the Natchog River watershed. And we're asking for signatures from Ashford, Chaplin, Eastford, Mansfield, Union, Willington, Wyndham, and us. And then it's going to go to the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District, Dan Mullins. So I signed that. That was returned to them on October 5th.
That's good.
We also have Danielson Veterans Coffee House, the town of Woodstock, American Legion, Benson, Flugel Post, 111 in Woodstock, and Farmers to Family. We're doing a community food share event next Wednesday, and this is at the Woodstock Fair. It's also in cooperation with the Agricultural Society. I met with them today. We've had some ongoing meetings. It's going to be next Wednesday, the 21st, at the Woodstock Fairgrounds, main entrance at noon. And we have a tractor trailer coming from Maryland, and each vehicle that comes through, we're giving a 30-pound box of food with vegetables, milk, meat, fish, etc. So that's going to start at noon next Wednesday.
That's not just for veterans. That's for anybody, right?
No, it's sponsored. It's the Veterans Coffee House, us, the town of Woodstock, the American Legion Post, and Farmers to Family, which is an organization, but also it's supported by the Woodstock Agriculture Society. This brochure that was created was sent to, it's in the shopper's guide that came out yesterday on page 2. It's going to be in the paper tomorrow, the Villager that comes out tomorrow. It's been sent to all the first selectmen in surrounding towns to be posted on town websites, the Woodstock Facebook page, that sort of thing. So no, it's open to any, there's no cost, and it's open to any citizens from any of the surrounding towns. In fact,
Good.
you know, if folks came from Southbridge, Massachusetts, they're very welcome to come and take part. The other thing is I was made aware of and had access to pallets of Dial body wash. So I made arrangements to pick it up, and it came from the town of Vernon. The highway department staff went out this week, picked up 4 pallets. One of the pallets has already been distributed, and it's going out to food banks in Thompson, Putnam, Killingly, and Plainfield. And we're in the process of getting those out to those various food banks. We're having folks come up and pick them up. Also, there is an open house in a week or so for a new women's sober house in Putnam. I was invited to the dedication, and I will not be bringing body wash with me, but that was one of the places that we designated should receive this. The food banks, now when folks go in to accept their, you know, food that they need and groceries and that sort of thing, this will be one of the options of things that they could get that they probably wouldn't ordinarily purchase. So that'll be happening. Well, it's happening now. I've already distributed one of the pallets, went to Teague, was picked up yesterday afternoon. And the other stuff will be distributed next week to the food banks in those 4 other towns.
What are those 4? Thompson, Killingly, Plainfield, and what was the 4th one? Us?
Putnam. So any of the food banks in those towns will have access to them. We also are getting out information, excuse me, to post offices, schools, Sweet Evelinas, signs around town and that sort of thing about the November 3rd general election. It'll be 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we are going, it's at the middle school, and we're sending posters out to be posted around town. Basically, it tells you the change of where it's going to be. We also, I've talked to Stu Morris, we're going to have a constable stationed here because we know darn right well people are going to show up at the town hall and expect to vote. There's been a tremendous response with the mail-in ballots that people responded to the town clerk. So Christine and Judy have been out straight. They've had volunteers helping with the mailings. They went out, people have requested the ballots. The ballots are being returned either through the general, you know, the United States Postal Service or the container that we have in front of the town hall. That's been going really well. Before you ask, because people have asked me, I can't tell you how many people responded, but a tremendous response, and we know that we're going to still have a lot of folks voting in person. So Let us see, what else do we have? I think that's about it for announcements. Yes, okay.
I have an announcement. Can I
Well,
make it?
that doesn't come until other from committee.
Okay, fine.
No, actually, you know what? You're on the board. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm very pleased to announce that it took almost 9 months to the day, but a whacked out broken telephone utility pole has finally been removed at the junction of New Sweden Road and 171. The accident happened on January 16th, and I know, despite the efforts of First Selectmen and the Public Works Director, the utility companies, Eversource and Frontier and Spectrum, they just couldn't get their act together and give us the service that we deserve. But it finally got taken care of, and I'm really happy that it did. And it just says one thing to me, and I shared this with Jay earlier. This would never have been tolerated in West Hartford, Glastonbury, Farmington, other towns out there, but they just let it ride and let it ride and let it ride. It was a cracked pole that looked really, really unsafe. It was tied to the new pole that Eversource put in, but it just was sitting there forever and ever and ever, it seemed. So it seems to me anyway that it's a version of small town discrimination when you can't get, it takes 9 months to get the service that should have been happened in probably 48 to 72 hours after the accident. It should have been all taken care of.
Well, John Navarro and I agree that the problem was we just didn't have the right person on the job. By the way, is there anybody we know that lives on New Sweden Road?
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right, thanks, Greg.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, public comments. Don, Charlene, I think Diane was here. I don't know.
Megan?
Megan? Okay,
Yeah, Megan's there.
okay. Oh, Megan, I see you.
I don't have any public comment, but hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Diane, how are you? Okay.
Diane never says anything.
I'm
No.
fine, thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Well, the word on the street is she's a stalker, so we're always cautious what we say for fear that she's heard it. So anyway, good to see you all. And seriously, I appreciate it because many times it's Diane and Greg and Chandler and I, and that's it. So thank you all for attending. And Charlene.
Yeah,
Yes.
quick question.
Yes.
I noticed that in your minutes from your last meeting that you were going to look into the requirement that the registrar of voters has to stay in the town
Charlene, I'm
hall.
sorry. It cut out again.
Hello?
Okay, I hear you now.
Don't
Okay.
move
In your
your
meeting-
head.
In your minutes, for your last meeting, you talked about how there was a requirement for the registrar of voters to remain at the town hall, but yet we're having the election at the middle school. And was that going to be a problem with people having to go back and forth between two places if they were concerned about their registration? And I wondered how that was resolved. Can't hear you.
I can hear you. You hear her? Can't hear you, Jay.
Speaking now, no?
Now.
Yes, yes.
I'm not going to move. I'm sorry, Charlene, getting back to your question, my understanding is that the registrars of voters would stay here and we will have a constable here both to direct people that need to register down to the registrar's office and also to direct people that are used to voting here to go to the middle school. They will have deputy registrars over at the middle school and also moderators. So I believe it's been resolved in the sense that we will be covering it the way we're supposed to legally. The other thing too is, as you can imagine, this whole COVID thing has been an unbelievable experience for everybody at the town hall. But this whole thing, especially with the general election coming up, as was with the primary during the summer, it's just changed so many things. And everybody here in this building is hustling to try to meet the needs of the voters in town. And it hasn't been easy, but we're managing. I'll be very happy the day after the election, as will the registrars, and I think the town clerk and the assistant town clerk, and yeah. Anyway. Okay. Anything else from the public, please? No? Oh, okay. Okay, Greg, anything additional from Board of Selectmen?
No, just that the issue of their political sign that has a bad word on it, the F word, and a lot of people calling you, people calling me, and the issue is that it appears to be free speech appears to be protected by the First Amendment, although I did find it said where obscenity is the one exception to that. And if that's determined to be obscene, then, I don't know whose house it is, but I just might go by there and introduce myself and ask him if he would clip the bottom line off the sign. Something like that. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything about it, but when the bus drivers are complaining that the kids are reading this word on the buses they go by, and then I know that Mr. Toth had contacted you about this issue. You got to ask, like, what are the community standards? And it doesn't include use of that word in a public venue, and it is a public venue, even though it's on private property. It's only about 10 feet off the road, and it's right there. And so, I mean, we'll see how we can do. If we can, it's sad, really, that it's a sad commentary that the election comes down to something like this, and we got to uphold community standards, and that's whoever wins, whoever loses. It's got to be up that way. So that's all I have to add.
Greg, I had sent you the attorney's opinion this afternoon after you and I met. Did you
Yep,
receive it? Or
I did. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what he's saying.
He's saying it is covered under the.
That's what I told you.
Yeah. Right.
It's,
Right.
it's under the Second Amendment, First Amendment freedom of speech, and it's on private property. And I met with Tina. We went through zoning issues, and there's no issues with that. I went through town ordinances. There's no issues with that. It's unfortunate. In fact, I had some ladies that showed up here at the town hall today, and I went out in the parking lot and talked to them, and I apologized. And I said, this is unfortunate, but they are protected under the First Amendment, freedom of speech and expression. So
Right.
I understand your concerns, and again, a number of parents and teachers, et cetera, but it is what it is. The other thing is, I would caution you about going over there, because the type of individual that would have a sign like that displayed to the public is not somebody you might want to, go to their front door and engage them, if you will. I'm just cautioning you. You're certainly free to do whatever you wish.
I would just simply ask the simple question, in a very respectful manner, and not demand anything. Just ask, would you consider taking it down?
Greg, let's think back. They bought that probably online, and they considered a wide variety of signs. They chose that sign. So I think any considerations on their part has already been done. I just don't want you to, I'm cautioning you about engaging them, because having dealt with individuals like that over the years, I'm just cautioning you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. Thank you all for joining us, folks, and have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
See you,
Yeah.
man.